Hi, everybody, back again with our nightly teaching and an opportunity as a virtual community to count the Omer together. This day of the Omer, before we turn our attention to tomorrow's date, which we do every night, this day is the penultimate day in the Omer period of the Hebrew month of Nisan. And by the way, I love that word, penultimate. I teach it to my students all the time, the second to last day of the month, because tomorrow night, Wednesday night, when we're back to count the Omer again, it will be Rosh Chodesh, the new moon beginning of the month of Iyar. And so, Nisan, of course, is the month that brings us Passover in the full moon. And it is only part of the days of Nisan are counted as Omer days, because Passover starts in the middle of the month. And then the Omer ends in the month of Sivan, when the holiday of Shavuot begins, which is, again, just in the first half of that Hebrew month, leaving Iyar, the next month, to be the only full month where we count the Omer every single day of that moon cycle. And so I thought, before we said goodbye to Nisan, such an important month in our story, in our tradition, that maybe we'd have a little Nisan teaching. And so I looked to a book that I often refer to, one of my favorites. I'm going to show you the cover right now. It's the Jewish Book of Days. It's by a rabbi named Jill Hammer, and Rabbi Hammer is a great teacher, and her teachings tend towards sort of the earth-based sort of way of talking about spirituality and Judaism, the earth and air and fire and water, and how they all are part of our Jewish experiences and our Jewish spirituality. And the Jewish Book of Days has a teaching, as the title suggests, for each day of the Jewish year. And so I'd like to read to you what Rabbi Hammer has to say, or what her teaching is in this Book of Days for the 29th of Nisan, this day that we've all kind of journeyed through right before the end of the month of Nisan. And so this day's teaching is entitled The Strength of the Midwife. And of course, right away it gives off Nisan vibes, because of course our Passover story, our Exodus story, the midwives play such an important role, especially in the beginning of the of our liberation struggle. And so it says, the strength of the midwife. Nisan is the month of birth. And as the Midrashic collection Yalkut Shimoni notes, the Exodus is the almost literal birth of our people. The divine is like a midwife, drawing the new infant, the people, from the depths. Yet the divine is also here a mother, pushing the people forth from her womb. How so? Biblical law ordains that a new mother stay away from the public sanctuary for 33 days in the case of a male child, and 66 days in the case of a female child. This is from the book of Leviticus. Exactly between those two numbers, 33 and 66, is the number 49. The counting of the 49 days of the Omer compares to, then, the ritual seclusion of the divine with her infant, Israel, the people, in the wilderness. Sinai here, Mount Sinai, is the Mishkan, the sanctuary, where both mother and child, the divine and the people who had escaped from Egypt and now were becoming Israel, enter. This is where they enter when their protective time together, that time of exclusion and intimacy, has come to an end. Today, in one legend, the 29th of Nisan, is the day that Jericho's walls fall down. The falling of the walls is an image of violence, of course, but also an image of birth. It reminds us of the moment Israel passes through the walls of Egypt to be reborn. This, Rabbi Hammer says, is the 14th day of the Omer. Malchut Shebegvura, which we've talked about, which may be translated as the Shekhinah of strength, the divine presence within strength. On this day, we remember the birth of Israel out of Egypt and honor the presence who delivers us from a narrow place. So that's the teaching. Turning our attention to the next day, actually beginning a new week of our counting period. And all week that I've been here, coming to you or with you, has been Gevura and all the different sfirot that then blend with Gevura. And just like kind of a spoiler alert, starting next week, it's Tiferet. And so I believe Rabbi Daniel and Rabbi Karen will have a fresh week of counting and teachings, and they may be keyed on, or the Omer will be keyed on that quality, Tiferet. And so tomorrow, of course, is the 15th day of the Omer. Chesed, right, is the quality that's going to sort of be woven into Tiferet for the 15th day. Perhaps we can translate that Chesed and Tiferet as the love of truth. So, seems that's a large concept in our day and age, the love of truth. And so, as I said, taking over next week will be my colleagues and friends, Rabbi Karen and Rabbi Daniel from wherever the Bogards will be when it's time to count the Omer. So for me, I'll be back in, I guess, a few weeks. So let's say the blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ruach haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefirat ha'omer. Blessed is the Holy One whose presence fills creation, who gives us and teaches us, where we learn mitzvahs, sacred deeds that we hope and pray, fill our lives with meaning and purpose and dignity, including this mitzvah that we are doing together of counting each day of the Omer, from Passover to Shavuot, from spring until summer, from Nisan through Iyar to Sivan, from freedom to serving one another in our liberation. This being the 15th day of our counting period, and I hope everyone has a good night. Big weekend at CRC coming up. Hopefully I'll be seeing some of you, many of you, but otherwise thinking about you always and sending you blessings. Amen.